stand on the scale and just go weigh yourself for the first of the year. And I was like, what happened? I was like, that's what happened. Yeah, don't take my weight too. Oh, he's down way more than me.
I was gonna say, guys.
Yeah.
Taking on.
He's kind of bloating up again.
Oh, I got Costco already, I'm like.
Yeah, he should, I'm like, you're a lot bigger than me. Yeah, he's like, but you don't what?
You got it?
Nikki Smith.
Oh, yeah. I got it. I'm here today. I love it.
Elf on the Shelf sent someone a message
I
and
know.
said, hey, you want to score some points?
Oh, yeah. It's the way the light is shining on it again. It's like you can see the sparkle, on her hair.
Oh, the
The
sugar.
side, the purple.
Tinsel extension.
You're so fun.
Yeah.
Like, my girlfriend is my birthday. But
What time is it?
10:01.
Okay, do we want to start?
We do.
Everybody have one of these?
Yeah.
You ever have?
no.
I brought treats today because, I mean, I'm gonna probably bring coffee every time, but I brought treats today because I just wanna. Jay's here. Hey, Jay.
What's that?
Come on, Andrew is not making it today, but I just wanted to congratulate us on the people who responded. So there were like 7 of us that responded. We've done like over 110 deals with just the people who responded. And so I just want to congratulate us, yay us, because it was kind of a hard year and we stuck to it and we're all still here. And I just think we need to celebrate our wins. So cheers to
Cheers.
our team,
Cheers.
whatever we are, and our group, and just thanks everyone for. I mean, I'll say for me, maybe we could go around and say one thing we're thankful for. I am thankful for the ability to call every single one of you and ask a question and not feel judged. And just feel like you're helping me and trying to make me a better agent. So thank you. That's my thank you for 2023. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you for directing Delilah and.
Oh, are they coming today?
No, they
Okay.
still have their full-time job.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right.
They'll be-
Yeah,
Yay.
they're gonna be a great addition.
They're
That's
really into learning, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm thankful that Erica is doing well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for how I feel for not drinking this long.
Yes.
Good for you.
We're proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Josh?
Thanks for being live.
Yeah.
The big things, little
I
things.
mean, yeah, get help and everything, so that's something.
I'm thankful for Erica and how she, just how we work together. And it feels very seamless at times. Like we just jump in, like, yeah, so I'm just thankful also that she's. Yeah, I was really.
Yeah.
It was just a good day on how I like cheered up. It was, yeah.
Mm.
It was a cheery day. I get to better.
Oh, wow.
Once in a while, once a year. Yesterday was my day for the year. I'm done this year. Yeah.
I'm thankful for my year. I mean, it was hard, like work wise, and I made shit in the money department. But I had friends that had really, really difficult years, and I'm kind of like, I almost feel bad because every like person I talk to, it's like really big thing. So I'm just thankful, and I started this joy jar, and I have little strips of paper in it. So last year when something like as the year went, instead of like praying for things or whatever, I did just little things like had a great lunch with somebody or something happened that I didn't expect, or surgery went well for somebody. So then on the first of the year, I read like last year, and it's like stuff I had forgotten about, but things that I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot that happened. And so
That's
I'm doing it
awesome.
again this year. So it's kind of a neat focus because as things happen, like for Erica, I was like, I'm gonna do it right now. Let's stop what I'm doing, and I'm gonna write it down, and I roll it up, and I've got this jar of
That's
like
great.
blessings that happened for the year that I can remember, even
Mhm.
though, you know, not the whole year was great, but there was like really great things.
I remember it.
I love it.
I'm thankful for all you guys. This is probably one of my favorite meetings of the month. I always leave feeling, this isn't even for me, but I always leave feeling so motivated and excited about business and like what's going next. So I think I get more done after these meetings than any
Mhm.
other time.
Wow.
Thank you guys for-
You should
for
be-
letting me talk.
Thankful for all of the people, like, you know, the people in this room, like, not in this room, that like make it possible to like do what we do. Like, you couldn't do any of the stuff alone, like all of the stuff that I know I've learned from somebody else, like all of the stuff, all of the ideas, like in some way or another, like they're always coming from somebody else, coming from outside. So I'm just like grateful to be surrounded by people that are like supportive and helpful and like genuinely want good things.
Mhm.
I know, can you imagine? I just like, I literally cannot imagine just getting this job and being stuck at a desk, being like, go for it. Like, I can't imagine.
Or any other company, really.
Right, yeah.
I'm also thankful for Erica and that she's doing well, and it was a difficult last quarter for me personally. There was just a lot of stuff that happened with my friend group, so just thankful for my health and for being here. So
Is there anybody online?
Haley was online and that's it.
What do you think?
Do you want to share, Haley? She's like, no. Okay. Perfect.
I like that background. Can you go back to that?
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah, that's pretty,
Mhm.
I like the colors.
That is so pretty.
Looks like Taco.
It does, that's probably why I love it. so much.
Mhm.
And Sierra,
My
yeah.
happy place.
Yeah, you made that background.
I did not. Canva.
Well, you made it.
I did.
You made it.
Well, yeah, Canva made that, you know,
Have you seen all this?
You found it on Canva.
I did. I know, it's
Like
crazy.
the music and the videos that they just like do basically for you, we can just like edit a few words.
I want that as my background.
Can you teach us that? Okay, maybe we should have had you do that.
Do a Canva class.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's like AI and the design coming together now.
Oh,
It's great.
Sandra.
Did
So,
you wanna,
And yeah, so Kendall and Delilah, they've like joined the team. Brittany and I, they're gonna be working with buyers primarily. They both work in dental industry and like the admin side in dental. They're looking to transition full-time into real estate. Kendall's dad's actually Jim Aguilar, if any of you guys know him. So she's got real estate in the blood. She's from Chico, Delilah's from up in Paradise, so both lived here all their lives, completely brand new to real estate. They joined the EXP team out in the Bay Area from a mill that came to them, so I'm interested to know what that mill said, because it sounds like good marketing. But anyway, that obviously wasn't working out, so we got connected with them through Mickey, and then we've been working all over the holidays, doing training, getting them up to speed on everything they're gonna need to go out there and be agents. Sandra is, she's been in real estate for years. She's up in Magalia. She, I can't remember which brokerage she was with, like, it might have been Century 21. She moved away after the campfire out to Fort Bragg. She just started doing sales around the time of the campfire kind of stopped. She's ready to get back into it. She had like people asking her, she had some deals lined up. So she got her license hung with EXP and is like ready to start producing. She's not part of the team, but she's gonna be obviously part of the Thrive Group.
Most important question, is the dog coming?
I thought we
Okay, the dog is the new.
Yeah.
So cute.
so Kendall works out with Teo at the core. And so he met her, and then it took me a while to get back to her. I don't know what my problem was, but I got back to her. And then they came and met me over the cafe. And it was nice. I mean, I basically just regurgitated everything that Erica tells us. And I said, you know what? If you can, I think Nick and Brittany are looking for team members, and so I just took them up, and then it worked out. But
Are they gonna be able to like transfer their,
I don't know how that works.
you have to be a part of our team?
There has to be.
How does that work?
I just spoke with Erica.
Okay. Okay, so
But
they're, yeah, they're not,
gonna
but they
be
are,
here.
right,
Yeah.
okay. Cool, good, yay.
Happy birthday to Adrian and Jamie. Does anybody, I know you deal with Jamie. Does anybody deal with Adrian? Do we know?
No, he's fine, he's with me, but no,
No, is he active at all?
no,
No,
I mean, no.
okay. And Jamie, how's Jamie doing?
She's, it has one deal under her belt.
Good.
Yeah.
She's doing a lot
And
of
she-
open
She
houses.
does open houses all the time. Yeah, so that's nice.
Good.
Something should hit, and she's due to have a baby soon.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
great.
Oh, really?
You can hide that secret.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jay, you're up.
Jay.
So just giving kind of a status update on nature of where interest rates are. So I pulled this off. I'm sure you guys use Mortgage News Daily to track interest rates, but this is the last year of where interest rates have been and where we're at now. And obviously the trend last year, we're all familiar with that, kind of peaked middle to late part of October. And we're a little bit over 1% on our improvement. So I wanted to show you guys really what the difference of percent means when it comes to a buyer. So I put together just a hypothetical scenario. We have somebody looking for a $500,000 home, dropping, they have a 10% down payment. So back in October at the peak, they were probably paying a little bit over a point or so to get a 7.5 interest rate, let's say. Their monthly payment would have been about $31.46, just the principal and the interest. So fast forward to today, if we're doing obviously today, early January, we're about 1% better, and actually it's a little bit more than 1%, but we've been kind of trending up a little bit, closer to 6.5. That same principal and interest payment would be about $28.44. So about $300 in savings per month for your client buying that same $500,000 home. So if you guys are talking to your clients, all your buyers, and say, hey, and another way you can kind of think about it a little bit differently would be to say, hey, maybe instead of looking at a $500,000 home, maybe if we're comfortable with this payment, the $31.46, you can obviously increase your budget now that rates have gotten a little bit better too. So maybe revisit anybody that you've been talking with in this range, kind of going back through the summer and through the fall. Say, hey, maybe we talk with our lender, make sure that we've got the best information and revisit, see what's on the market and take it from there. But that's kind of just where we're at and what we've obviously what we're expecting to come. The Fed has mentioned 3 rate cuts throughout the year. Don't know when that's going to be, but we are expected to have rates be improving. So obviously the talking point with that with your clients is knowing that as rates go down, competition comes back, back to there. So
Where is it at right now? Like, what was it today or yesterday?
interest rates are, so we're kind of in that mid 6% range. I
Okay.
think we're at, like, if you check Mortgage News Daily, which tracks like the average 30-year fixed rate loan across all lenders, I think it was showing like a 6.6 or 6.7 or something. But yeah, for the most part, if you have decent credit and even good or bad down payment size, it doesn't really matter so much, but we're kind of in the mid 60s, what I'm calling those clients. So I've heard lots of different things as far as projections by the end of the year. Maybe upper 5s is kind of what I'm thinking optimistically, but I think it's going to be a slow, which should be good. Again, hopefully not bring too many back too quickly. But any questions? What are you guys working on? Okay. There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What I'm working on, these meetings on for the year.
Okay, so instead of a monthly one, gonna look at backwards 2023 and then talk about kind of what we can expect. So I didn't know Jay was gonna do that one right before, so there's probably a little bit of crossover here, because obviously the thing that's been moving the market, shaping the market, changing all these stats is mortgage interest rates. So you'll see the average 30-year rate at the bottom, and that's done by quarters. And you know, we started off the year, and it looks like we finished about 1% higher, but we didn't. When we started 2023, this is according to Fred, which is Federal Reserve St. Louis, their website does 30-year fix. We started the year at about 6.48 and finished at 6.61. So that's a pretty negligible difference, like $34 a month difference on a $400,000 loan. So that's not something that's gonna change buyer behavior. But we started the year off and we were like really slow, like looking at, you know, even comparing it to the previous quarter, the same quarter of the previous year, we were slow. And then you can see what's happened as the years went on. And that's, so what you can get from that is it's not really interest rates that have changed that, it's people's perception of interest rates and people's perception of what's happening. So when interest rates were tracking upwards, people are like, you can only go on the data that is ahead of or is behind you, and then you make a guess that it's going to keep trending in the same direction. So everyone was like, well, now's a bad time. And they're not, like, nobody's feeling confident, buyers and sellers, things are changing, nobody's feeling confident. As we started finishing up the year and things started kind of being a little more flat and a little more level, you get two things. One, buyers that are like new into the market, they're looking backwards, and now interest rates are better than they were. So now seems like a good time to buy. And then you're looking at sellers, and again, they can see the same kind of activity in the market. And if you look at the days to sell, that's something that, you know, really changes how things feel, like for us as agents and for the buyers and sellers in the market. Days to sell, I think, is one of the metrics that we like feel the most. As far as the other stats go, you can kind of see that things improved as the year went on and the market became hotter. Because divided up by quarters, what we're not seeing is December was actually even more crazy. We hit in December, the median dollar per square foot hit an all-time high. That's like all-time ever high from when rates were, you know, in the 3s and the 2s, which is crazy when you like, and that's talking about like messaging to buyers and sellers, like, yeah, interest rates are affecting the market, but ultimately we saw supply get constrained at the same time demand dropped. Nobody's building at the same kind of pace. You know, a lot of people are just not selling, that lock-in effect. So there is no crash coming. Like if you're waiting for a crash, you probably missed it sometime around the middle of this year. Like all of the indications, interest rates are going to improve, as in, when I say improve, become lower. Anyone that was waiting for a crash, they slept through it. It's happened already.
Yay.
We're done, like we found the bottom of it. So again, like when you're looking at the stats for yourselves, or when you're talking clients to the stats, just a reminder, everyone probably knows we are very seasonal in real estate. So don't look month over month. You've got to look at prior years, and then depending on what you're trying to do, you can like average over a few years to see what kind of December we've had. But this December, like looking individually at December, was kind of crazy. We like just some of this stuff doesn't really reflect well in the stats, but just anecdotally, December was our biggest month for closings of the whole year, which is like really abnormal, like for market stats, you know, historically. That shouldn't really be the case. But that's just showing like what happened when rates dropped 1%. So anyone that's, you know, you don't have to be some kind of statistical genius to like figure out over the next year, if rates are gonna come down another %, what that's gonna look like for buyers and for sellers. I think we're heading into like a market where obviously the stats don't give us any indication of what's gonna happen in the future. But what we can take is we can see there's a lot of sales that haven't happened, like overall. Like about half as many homes sold in 2023 as in other years like prior. So there's this like pent up like energy in the market of like buyers that want to buy, sellers that want to sell. They've been sitting on the sidelines, they've been waiting for a better time, and we're about to hit something that's going to feel like a better time for them. So like if you no one can like really predict, but like everything's indicating that we're gonna have a pretty crazy year. Like I think there's a few things coming up. Dream for All being funded, like we saw what happened last time with that. If it's done a little more intelligently this time, you know what that's going to do to the market. Like getting your sellers like lined up and ready to like take advantage of these opportunities. Get like, you know, getting sellers like ready for spring, because I feel like it's going to be, you're going to uncork the market. There's going to be this like burst, and then we're going to like settle back down into like a level thing. So I'm guessing like this year we're going to see some kind of like bump in like sales activity, in prices, and then things are going to settle down again, because we've got the lock-in effect. People haven't been moving. What happens when they start moving? It's not just, so like, you know, your move up buyers, that's going to be inventory hitting the market, which, you know, counteracts the increased demand. So if we're not going to just see all this demand and still low supply. If the demand gets that high, the supply is going to come up a little with it. So like, obviously we're not trying to encourage people to try and time the market, but it's just kind of being aware that I think we're going to see some crazy things happen this year, and it's going to be like a little bit of a roller coaster. Not sure how much the seasonality is going to remain. Surprisingly, despite this December, overall the last couple of years, seasonality stayed, like the trend has definitely been noticeable. So I don't think we can say like there's not going to be any seasonality. I just think there's going to be other things that are going to cause shifts in the market, primarily like interest rates and first time home buyer programs. And then we go.
I think that, I was listening to some conversations and they were looking at cutting interest rates 6 times this year projected. So you think
That was the initial, they were talking about 6, and then they walked it back a little bit, so it's 3, and then they're like, yeah, maybe we might have another hike. Like, so there's lots of language out there.
I'm starting
Right.
to feel buyers come back out now.
Mhm.
So are you guys experiencing that?
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
like yesterday we were just doing our like honestly like more like administrative type stuff, like, you know, prepping stuff and getting ready for the year. And it was like yesterday really was like the first working day of the year,
Right,
and I think we got like 4 new leads.
yeah.
Like in a day, like that's not like, you know, probably 2 of them like super high intent.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like that's why I'm like anecdotally it feels like
Yeah.
the market's ready to like
Yeah.
go crazy.
Piggybacking on what you said, Nick, in the Dream for All program, we still don't have like all the official information on it yet. But if you are talking to buyers and they are, like, honestly, I think everybody should put their name in because it's gonna be a lottery. And I think we'll get the information about how to get them entered, but they're gonna have to complete some first time home buyer education. And it's a great pocket, I mean, 20% down payment, like it's gonna make that monthly payment so much more affordable. Everybody, I think, can put their name in the grant. You never know.
What are the requirements for that, do you know?
It's gonna be, we don't know all of it.
Okay.
The Cal half of the way it was last time, you just had to be, under whatever, 100% of the area median income. I think Butte County was like 160,000 for the
Oh, wow.
household. It was everybody, or most people like qualify. I think they're gonna tone that down quite a bit.
First time home buyer in California.
Yep. But more info to come on that, but it's honestly, like, if you have anybody that's interested and he's kind of on the fence, like, it's a great talk. And then you kind of get them a little bit more serious by having them do that. Obviously, we'll help them talk about like the education that they'll have to do with it. But it makes them a little bit more serious and gonna have the skin in the game of that. I think it's like $100 to complete that course. But at least they're prepared and they're ready and they're schooled up, and you know, if you got a pretty watching buyer or if you got somebody who's.
That's how they're paying for the program.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a lottery.
So, there's this stat, actually, I'll just touch on it, because I think it confuses people, like, I think I've went over it before, but I understand it's like still confusing, like, how can the median sales price be down and the median price per square foot be up? So what that means when we're seeing this, it means less expensive homes, smaller homes are selling more proportionately than. So if you had a month where you sold all homes between 800 and 1 million, it's going to move up this, but it's not necessarily going to move this, because the chances are those homes are larger. So this is a better indication of like what the market's doing, because it accounts for, you know, different price points behaving differently. So, like, can't prove it. Why I think we're seeing that is first-time buyers like are a larger share of the market right now. Somebody probably can prove that. I don't have stats for it, but just intuitively, first-time buyers, they don't have anywhere to sell. They don't already have a 3% interest rate locked in, so they're buying. It's those like move-up buyers buying the $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 homes. They're the ones that have been largely pushed out of the market by interest rates being so different from what they're locked in at. So I think we're seeing the below the median price homes selling like more, like a higher number of those selling, and that's pulling down the median sales price, but it's still moving up the dollar per square foot.
Elka and I were talking the other day, and I don't know if I'll be able to articulate it, but I was looking at like smaller square footage homes, like under 1,200 square feet. Those seem to be selling at a much higher price per square foot, but it's a really fine line. If you get to like a 14 square foot home, then those are going for like $300 a square foot. It's a very interesting like tipping point. And where, you know, when you're talking to people, it's like, well, I mean, you can use the average as $300 a square foot, but really those smaller homes are going for way more. Because when you, if you use $300 a square foot, it was, the house in particular was like less than 365. I'm like, there are no nice homes in Chico at 365. This is not, you can sell your house for way more than that.
So we had a buyer that tried to do that, and he was like an accountant, did some real estate investing, and he tried to say, oh, well, this house compared to the dollar per square foot, he was looking at a house on like 2.5 acres in Chico. I'm like, well, you know, that acreage isn't changing the square foot. It had an in-ground pool, also not reflected in the square footage. The square footage isn't the entire value of a home.
Right.
It's a cool.
So all it's for, like, it can become useful where you go, okay, we've got other homes, similar lot size, same kind of amenities, in-ground pool, on solar, whatever. You can use it to like level out some comps if the home is like a slightly different size. But a 1,000 square foot home and a 2,000 square foot home, they're not like, you're not going to pay because you're only getting the same amount of land, or you're only getting the same amenities. So it's like a diminishing return on like dollar per square foot as you go higher naturally, and that's like not specific to the market now. That's all it is.
Yeah, it was just interesting.
Even if you go
yeah.
build, it's like if you
Yeah.
build an 800 square foot house, your dollar per square foot is going to be higher than building a 3,000 square foot house, because it's like an economy of scale.
Mhm.
Yeah, and some buyers and sellers get really zeroed in on price per square foot, right? They're like, well, this is,
Yeah, it's useful
I
for.
always just say,
It's
oh,
got a use, and you've got to use the right for the right.
a lot of their.
Everything's
those that come-
What?
What?
I think he felt really stupid when he pointed that out.
Oh, yeah, I was like kind of surprised because he's like a smart guy. And when he said that, I was like, what? Like, it's-
Nobody can explain that.
It's-
Thank you, Nick.
Anything else? Okay. Katie.
Oh, my turn. Okay, so this is on the RPA, it's page 5, it's item 8B. This is regarding appraisal. And I'm bringing this up because I had this happen. On a transaction, the appraisal did not come in at value. And the section on the RPA, 3L2 was not completed. And so we were the seller, and the buyer's agent was very upset that we asked for a copy of the appraisal report, which we have every right to based on B1. And the part I want to point out is at the very end, it's not in bold, which I wish it was, and it says for any cancellation based on the appraisal contingency, buyer shall deliver a copy of the written appraisal to the seller upon the request of the seller. You have to actually write them an email and request it, and my agent had texted them, which is fine, because that's written request, but they're like, we don't have to give it to them, so I unburied this from the contract and pointed it out. It's like, no, you have to give this to us, and they complained about it. So I wanna make sure you guys are aware that you do have to release that, just like you do the inspections. The inspections have to be released regardless of the situation. If you cancel, the appraisal is only upon request. So if they don't ask for it and they don't know about it, then don't do it. But if you are a seller, ask for it every time, because that way you can know why it's for you.
But if they're cancelling on the inspection contingency, they don't have to
No,
provide the appraisal.
Correct. It's just only if the appraisal contingency is the reason why you are canceling. And in this case, it came under like 30,000, and I was like, I'm pretty sure the appraiser just didn't know what he was doing, and he actually went to the wrong house. Which we found out in the appraisal report, and nobody caught that. I'm like, are we sure we're canceling? And so we went to the neighbor's house. And it's a vacant house, so nobody knew.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, you just walked.
I'm like, how did you even get into the freaking house?
Wow.
I'm like, you didn't get into the house.
I know,
I
yeah.
don't know. There's
All of us.
That's hilarious.
I don't, but I absolutely got into the other house, and I don't know what we was doing it, but we.
Like knocking on the wrong door, walking into the wrong house, and producing an entire result. It's like,
What I think,
Yeah.
what I think happened is the neighbor's house had tenants, so they had no idea, and I think they were thinking it was like a handyman, something happening from their landlord. I'm like, your landlord should know,
Just let 'em
why
in.
are you letting them in? And our house was vacant, and I was like,
Scary.
yeah, I was like, this is weird, this is not the right appraisal. We went to the appraiser, and we're like, can you have the right report? And he's like, this is the report you guys requested. I'm like, where did you get that? Because it wasn't on the contract, I don't know what the address was. So I don't know, so that
So
was.
did they redo it? And
Did
they
the
came
lender-
No, he still canceled, they still canceled it, they were like, we're out, we're done, we don't wanna do it, I'm like, well, then you need to give us a copy of the report. And so the appraiser is going back out, because we're like, you got paid to do it,
Yeah.
you have to give us the report that you
Yeah, and
said.
you can't really cancel on the wrong address.
Yeah, so the buyer is not moving forward, but the appraiser is gonna go fix it.
But how are they backing out?
They're using that as the back out, that they don't wanna do it, because then the lenders.
do they still have an investigation?
We were like,
Yeah.
you were just finding a reason to get out, let's just get out.
Let's just get out. Yeah.
So they're just finding a reason at that point. We were like, we don't wanna deal with you anyways, the agent was very good to deal with, so that was that one part. And then, B2, if the buyer is unable to obtain the loan specified solely for the reason of the appraisal, the seller may be entitled to the buyer's deposit, so.
Oh.
You have to, cannot stress it enough, complete section 3L2 on the contract. Because it says, and it's in that little box, it's in your grid, it's on page 2, and it says appraisal contingency is
Oh.
based upon the appraised value at a minimum purchase price. Or, and then you put another price in. You wanna put either another price in that is just slightly higher than what it is, so that your buyer, if your buyer's comfortable paying a little bit more. To make. the-
But what if they're not? Then you
If
leave
they're
it
not,
blank.
then leave it blank.
Leave it blank.
But you have to have that conversation.
Okay.
Because the other agent didn't even like completely mess it. We're like, no, this is $30,000. We're like, well, we're not paying for, obviously lender wasn't gonna pay. A gap of $30,000. We're like, no, we're paying the purchase price, like you gotta come up with the other amount, obviously with the wrong amount, so the whole thing was wrong. But in that case, if we told them to write in there, like, hey, we would have been willing to go up another $5,000, let's figure out how we can come in the middle. There's your negotiating power when you're talking about like price reductions on all of the appraisal or even inspection, like, hey, let's lower it instead of doing repairs.
Am I missing something? Why, if the buyer? If the loan, sorry, the
If you have-
appraisal,
If you have multiple offers, it's to your advantage to do that. too.
but why does the seller, why is the seller entitled to the buyer's deposit if,
If it's not their fault,
right?
it's the appraisal of the house that's. more.
So it's because. You know how they say that you get for damages, but it's not really damages, it's for the time that you spent off the market. You're wasting
Okay.
your time with this person. More than likely, your appraisal is a little longer of a contingency, 4 to 17 days. So this is pretty much the damages the sellers can get. Now you've wasted their time, and now you have an appraisal that's attached to this house. If you ask for it, you have it attached, you're like, this is why it came in at this value. Now you have to compete against that, you could be losing money on it.
Well, you would make more money backing out and relisting it higher, because now you have an appraisal that backs up the worth, the value of the house.
Yeah, so if you have to reduce it because it's too low.
It just kind of,
Whatever.
I know what you mean, though, it kind of sucks for the buyer, because they got it, they thought they're getting this great deal, the seller accepted it.
I think I'm missing something, sorry, it's
No, you're
okay,
good.
I just think I'm missing something, cause I don't understand why.
Well, the way I'm reading it, it says they may be entitled.
Yeah.
So
Right, but if
that-
it's
or I'm
during
sorry,
the 17 days,
Based solely
You
on
can
that.
back out on something
So if
else.
it's solely on the appraisal, on the lending side, I would say, hey, put that in conjunction with the loan contingency. Say, hey, they don't have the extra 30,000 to come up with,
When it's
or
a loan thing.
it's a loan thing and an appraisal thing, so it's no longer solely based on it. It's just what my interpretation of it. but-
Mhm.
So I guess if you remove everything and you only have an appraisal, which doesn't really happen very often,
Mhm. Usually you have
or
your
you've
loan in
already,
place still.
or you've already removed something.
Just making sure you guys are going through it and talking to your clients about it and being like, or if you had to, if the appraisal came in at a different value. Are you comfortable going beyond what the purchase price is right now? Can you afford to adjust it slightly? And having that conversation, because in this case, we wasted a lot of time. It was like a 21-day appraisal because the appraiser. because the-
I'm saying if you don't, number two is if you don't have an appraisal contingency. So if you do have an appraisal contingency,
this doesn't apply.
that doesn't apply.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was, sorry, that's what I was missing.
Okay.
Okay, so if you do not have an appraisal contingency, but then you use.
Look at the start,
Okay,
if no appraisal contingency is checked, that's what the rest of that little subparagraph
okay,
says.
then the,
The
okay,
buyer may not use the loan.
So if you do have a appraisal contingency,
May not.
number
So
one
the loan
is what you're reading.
contingency
Right.
So it's a contingency.
okay.
Sorry, the bottom
think-
half was a little confusing where I placed it, so I apologize. When I was looking at it, it made sense to me how I was gonna walk you through it, so I apologize.
No, that's what I was missing, cause I
That
was
makes more
like,
sense.
And just as a thing on this one, like where I would use this is if the listing agent is concerned because you're getting a credit. Like if you're getting a $20,000 credit, you're basically asking, and then you've got an appraisal contingency, you're asking the seller to sell it for $20,000 less than the appraised value.
Mhm.
So if you've got a credit, you can put that in there to make it so that,
The $20,000.
yeah, so that the seller's not carrying the appraisal risk and the buyer is carrying that risk. If you're doing a large credit, that's where I could see it.
I've only used that in multiple offer situations generally,
Yeah.
to make my offer
Usually
better,
better.
because we, at one, this was not recently, but we offered 100,000 over asking. And we put that 100,000 in there. That we put it 100,000 over, because they were willing to,
They're willing to put on.
and we were pretty sure it was gonna appraise for that much, so it was.
I've heard in
Not
some
very much of a
markets,
risk.
if you write over the list price, the expectation is that
Yeah.
you complete that.
That's what I was thinking, if that's
Right.
on, if the seller sees that though, why would they not come back and counter higher?
Well, they had 14 offers
Mm-hmm.
and counter a higher than 100,000 over asking.
No.
Like saying they are willing to be pay over.
Pick one where you put in how much, let's
You're
say
offering.
you're offering $500,000, but they see here that you would go up to 600,000 based on.
No,
the-
500,000, so they were asking, let's just say they were asking 400,
Sure,
and we offered 500. We would put 500 in that box
Oh,
because,
okay.
the selling listing agent might be like, well, what if, I don't think it's gonna appraise for this.
You're gonna write a loan
Oh,
number
I see.
here, you're not
Yeah.
gonna write a.
You're just backing up.
I'm backing up what
Okay.
our purchase
You're
price.
gonna-
is.
You don't write your
Yeah,
purchase
right.
price in there.
I wasn't.
You are, so it says at a minimum of the purchase price.
Price
If you're
more.
already going to the purchase price, you're
Yeah.
after that.
You're
Right,
never,
I'm just thinking more.
you're not gonna write more, you're gonna write less.
Or less to go
No,
another hundred.
You're never gonna write more, you're gonna write less.
Less.
Mhm.
Cause you're not gonna say, I'm gonna buy it for
Yeah,
500,000
that's what-
purchase price, you're not gonna be like, well, it has to appraise for 550,
Yeah.
like.
No, no, no,
You-
right,
you
not to
write-
go over,
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
so it's gonna be less than the.
Less
purchase
than the-
price.
And then you have the
I
appraisal gap
misunderstood.
in that situation.
Yeah, but like, well, if I'm a listing agent there and someone's wrote that, I wanna see proof of funds for the appraisal gap. whether
Right,
they can do that.
exactly, it has to be part of your. proof of funds.
Yeah.
Okay, let's read B two, so no, the whole thing,
All
B
good
two.
conversation.
No
Learn a
appraisal
lot.
contingency, if no appraisal contingency, the box on page 2 where it says loan and all that's under timelines. Is checked in paragraph 3L2, then the buyer may not use the loan contingency specified in paragraph 3L1. To cancel this agreement if the sole reason for not obtaining the loan is that the appraisal relied on the buyer's lender's value. Or the buyer's lender values the property at an amount less than specified in paragraph 3L2. You guys get that? Right. The buyer is unable to obtain the loan specified solely for this reason, the seller may be entitled to the buyer's deposit
Right.
or other legal remedies.
Because they already released that contingency.
They don't have the appraisal contingency. They walked in saying, I don't care what it appraises at.
Right, okay, that
And
makes
then-
sense.
Then they go loophole, they're like, well, we can't get the loan because it didn't appraise and I don't
Yeah.
have that gap in there.
Got
You've
it.
gotta make sure you protect yourself in that case, because then that way, then that's where the damages part for the seller comes in and the seller's like. We wasted all of this time and you couldn't afford to buy this property when you're the one who put no appraisal. So you cannot do that.
Did you wait to appraisal contingency on that one? Okay.
If that wasn't there, it wouldn't be a separate loan and appraisal contingency, it would always just
So
be.
you really only wanna look at that if you're. waiting
Yeah.
on that appraisal.
Yeah, you guys should be really careful with waiving appraisal
Yeah.
because I mean,
Your buyer.
if you
has to
think
be-
about it, appraisals are an opinion of value, like it's an opinion, like that's what it says, opinion of value. It's somebody walking in saying, I think it's worth this. And every other appraiser might walk in and think something different. And value it slightly different. They're looking at comps, but everybody sees things slightly different. Nick's comps might pull differently than Tracy's comps. It might be just a little bit, it might be really close, or it could be right on, we don't know. So just being really careful with your appraisal contingencies, especially as we get more buyers in the market right now. And then, B3, is Fair Appraisal Act. If you guys didn't know, I have this all the time. I don't know if you guys do, the Fair Appraisal Act, this is a pre-checked box, this is always required. I have so many times where the seller will not send me back the fully executed contract with that signed, they will only send the 16 pages on the contract. If you do not provide the FAAA, regardless if, and this is what CAR legal says, regardless if the appraisal is in the contract or not, it is not a fully executed agreement. You do not have a valid contract. Your contract is not valid. So you have to have that signed, because it's already pre-checked, says it's in there, says you've received it, and that's all you're signing. You're signing, you acknowledge that that is in effect.
Well, it's part of our, like, when you pull up
Yeah,
the,
it's
it's
in
California
there.
purchase agreement. It's
How
in there.
many times do you get heard of it?
Well, that happens, but.
Because they scan it in, or they only sign one or two things.
Or I got
I
it
like,
think it's not that important.
A week
Yeah.
after all the counters were signed.
oh,
That was a lovely. month.
that's my,
I'm like, you didn't have the RPA signed when you signed the counter offers? They're signed a week later.
yes. So the
It
BA,
was never really a valid counter offer.
Well, it wasn't a.
so if you get packets, you know, how they sometimes are all spread out, you don't get the 80 in the first pages and the stripes.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
all, you know that it's gonna, you gotta search for them. The FAAA and the BHIA, the new form, are the two required documents for the transaction.
That is not even on checklist yet. These guys look.
Nope. If-
BHIA.
They're working on it. I
Okay,
worked on mine.
thank you.
Those are the two required ones to be fully executed, so you have a full contract. If you don't have those two with the RPA fully signed, it's not fully accepted, and that means dates should not start.
Well, there's another one on the first page, which one is that, that's automatically checked?
The
PRVS.
I
But
understand that,
these are
like,
the
car
old
legal,
ones.
car legal, like, really, if that's what they're saying, it should be in the purchase agreement, it shouldn't be a separate form.
I know, they really want the entire packet to be a fully executed agreement, the AD, the
The whole thing,
PRVS,
that's a lot.
the FHDA. The BIA, the CCPA, the DHIA, all of those, they want those included, that's why they're attached to it, and that's why they're referenced in the RPA. Do you know how many people argue that, they're like, it's not here, like, you go through the contract, it's there, I know they're all there. But if those are the two most important documents to have signed to have a fully executed agreement.
What's the acronym for the DHA?
The BHIA, so the buyer, homeowner, insurance advisory,
Oh, gotcha.
It's a new form.
brand new, it comes right on, it's on page 7. Yeah,
It
page
is,
7.
it is a part of like when you get the RPA, it is in there.
The best
Like-
part, the FAA and the BHIA
Mhm.
page right before, they're right before the contract, so you should. But if they're not signed, send it back, your timeline should not begin until they're signed. It does like.
That's
Okay.
just in the RP.
Yes, yeah, in the packet, yeah, you don't have to go search for separate documents, they're all there, the only ones that you won't find those on usually, I don't think the BHIA, I haven't seen it. Is on the big land agreement, I don't think that one's been updated, and I don't think they were talking about adding it. But
Is it a fine?
you can get homeowner, you can get insurance.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
I don't know if it's.
But it says residential,
I mean, if you're planning to
Property.
build on it, if it's like a residential.
yeah, but it might specifically
Yeah.
say residential. on
Should be
the form,
investigated.
and it's not.
Right, they just have, it's not in the packet yet, I haven't seen it, so I don't know if that one's coming or not, we'll see when they do the new,
Doesn't it say
Okay.
buyer home on it, so it's not a home, it's not a home.
Next.
Yep. Tenant estoppel, I just wanted you guys to see it, it is,
Nice.
the tenant's responsibility to complete the entire form, which means if you have a copy of, hopefully you have a copy of the lease agreement. I just got one of these tenant estoppels back. And the tenant did not fill out the deposit, they didn't fill out their monthly rent, they didn't tell me if they had any, what people they had in there. The only thing that they did was the top part, the date of the agreement, which was funny, because that was even wrong. They told us their names at the very, very top of the page, and they said who pays for what, and that was it, and I was like, no, I need you to fill this out, and the agent's pushing back, he's like, well, they filled it out, and I was like, they give him a copy of the contract that you guys have, guys, like, fill out the documents, you can't not tell me who lives in the house, you can't tell me what the rent is, like, in your opinion, what the rent is. So, in this case, I was on the buyer side, so it's your responsibility as the seller, the listing agent and the seller to ensure that's completely filled out, so when you get it back, make sure it's all filled out, to the best of their knowledge. Obviously, there's a couple of them that are not going to be filled out if it doesn't apply, like number of parking spaces or storage spaces, but they should know their deposit, and they should know their rent, and they should know who lives.
Is
And whether
this,
they have that.
I've never had to deal with this, but is this something that you would technically like to have filled out before you go
Please.
live?
Please, yes.
Uh,
It would be great.
It depends how long you're gonna be on the market, because you're gonna want that to be current,
Right,
Yeah.
so like. And a lot of the residential income properties, they sit on the market longer, so you probably don't want it too far advanced.
I
But
think it's.
if tenants ever push back on this, most lease agreements have in there a provision that the tenant will complete a tenant estoppel certificate when requested by the landlord. So like, if you're getting a seller that's got the thing, like, it'll be in the lease that they have to do it.
Just have it filled out, like, get it filled out, it is a requirement within the 70.
That's what I was gonna say, just treat it like a seller.
It's a seller disclosure, so you guys are responsible for getting it, and I do have currently, because I love residential income properties. I have, it's a fourplex, we're on the buyer side, and we've got 2 fully completed ones. One was not fully completed and I had to send it back, then another one had, oh no, one of the other ones had the wrong rent amount.
Were you being sarcastic when you said about this?
And then the final one, who everyone,
Oh my
she's a
God,
homebody,
I
she's
did
been
that.
waiting, they're like, oh, well, if we don't get it, we don't get it, and I was like, that's not how this works. You can't just not say we're getting it, so they're trying to say that, this is a very reputable agent, so he's like, well, we've tried. Like, go with the property manager, like, knock on our door until you get it. get the proof.
They're like, it'll be, like I said, it's on the lease, like, they're in violation of the lease, so you can give them. Like. You can basically serve the tenant notice, because they're breaching the terms of the lease,
Mhm.
they'll probably fill it out when they get 60 days.
They're not
notice.
gonna be excited about filling it out, so it's, the seller's job to, make sure they're happy.
Yeah, and yeah, we've sent this to a tenant, or to their email. So they can fill it out via DocuSign. They can do that as long as you get their contact information and they're okay with it. I walked her through it. I was like, this is all you have to do. Just put in the information. I put the text boxes, all of that. That ended up working out perfectly. Loved it. It's the in hand. You hand it to them and then you're like, can I have that back? And they're like, I don't know where it is or what you're talking about. So, but it's your responsibility as the listing agent to make sure you guys get them.
If you're ever doing a residential income purchase agreement as well, it's a box on there that you check. One is like, there's a box for financials, and there's a box for tenant estoppel certificates.
Very bottom of the.
It shouldn't even be a box, like, because it should always be checked, because if you don't get that, like, there's been cases where real estate agents have been sued for not doing the tenant estoppel certificates, but for not getting that, because you're not protecting your buyer if you don't have that.
Mhm. Yeah, because you don't know who owns the furniture, you don't know who owns the stove,
Where's the deposit?
where's the deposit, who has the deposit, who pays for what.
Yeah, it just creates a thing for the tenant to come back afterwards and say, oh, that wasn't the lease that I signed, that was, or we had some other agreement. Yeah, that was the original lease 20 years ago,
Yeah.
but now he lets me cut the grass and he only charges me $1,000 a month rent.
Yeah,
Like,
the lease should match up
Yeah.
to this, so there should be, everyone should stop.
And there is a page too that has like, not essay, but they have like a couple lines, it says, is there anything that you do that you. Get less rent for, so like, in one that I went to yesterday, I previewed it. For tenants, they're all section 8, so in that section, we had them right, here's my portion of it, here's my section 8 portion. And that was the difference, so then we know there's 2 incomes coming in from New York One, so that we pulled up their log, it's not gonna say, oh, the tenant only paid $200, and you're like, what, why? Tenant in section 8, yeah, you're good, so. Just make sure you guys fill it out, and just pay attention to it when you get it back, because now I have to fight with the other agent to get it, and we're half the time on, they're like, oh, you need room, I'm like, that's not happening.
You're like,
One
new.
more. Ooh, I'm just going to my bedroom. I just wanted to share this because I thought this was a really cool quote that I heard and I wanted to share with you guys. Market should not dictate your outcome. They should only dictate your strategy. Just keeping that in mind as you move forward. Last year was hard for a lot of agents and I saw so many agents so hard and I'm like, well, how are everybody else doing it? I'm like, they're working their butts off. Like, they're not sitting back and just waiting for it to come back. They're out there dictating how their career is gonna go, and those are the people that are gonna stand out, and those are the people who constantly have business coming in. So don't let the market dictate your outcome, just your strategy.
Love it.
I like that, thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, so Erica was wondering, she loves this book, correct?
Yes.
And wanted to know if anybody wanted to do like a book club on it. Has anybody read it here?
Yeah.
It's so funny, cause I just looked
Okay.
at it, it's on my Kindle, and I was like, I should read that, I should read that. And then I was.
Here's
like,
your
no,
sign.
Yeah.
It's totally a sign.
Yeah, she was saying it's more about just creating good habits instead of like, oh, I'm gonna make a New Year's resolution. Well, like, how do you go about that? And like, yeah, so how do you create those habits in your life and what it takes to do that and
Yeah.
just what a 1% increase each day can do, like over the course of a year. So, yeah.
Yes.
That
Great,
guy, the
yes.
author, he like, if you search him on like whatever you do, so podcasts,
Mhm.
he does like a lot of stuff on podcasts and I've got this like email, every Thursday he sends out an email, this like 3-2-1 email, it's like, I can't remember what the things are, but it's like,
The countdown to.
it's 3 ideas, 2 quotes and 1 question for you, like, it's
Ooh.
like good. Like he's just like top of the game mindset stuff and human behavior stuff.
Jim Roman's really good too.
I would, if anyone's open, I would be willing to do it, but I am reading a Barbara Kingsolver book, whatever, however you say her name, and it is killing me right now. And I'm supposed to be done with it by January 25th, so I can do it after January 25th.
What would that be?
So would we meet like,
Maybe in like February.
would we meet weekly? Would we meet?
I don't know.
Monthly?
About doing-
On it
About doing
monthly.
a coffee talk.
We could.
Okay.
We could tie it on to
Coffee
the.
talk.
to the coffee talk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Good
think
idea.
game.
Yeah.
Okay,
okay, yeah.
so maybe starting like with,
So
so
just
just
start
don't have a
reading it.
calendar.
The
but-
February book.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's our
Like
February book.
February.
okay,
Yeah, so just, get the book.
To be February 2nd would be the first.
So leap year, so you get an extra day. a little bit.
so
You
even
have
though
3
you've
weeks.
read it, if you wanna come, or maybe add like, you know.
Or maybe just read it or audio.
Well, that's, I have to
still
do,
count.
Yeah.
I'm doing audiobook for this book that I read, it's Demon Copperhead. And I cannot read this book, so I've just got my little audiobook and I read along, I listen.
What is it? Like a
Like
fiction?
1
It's fiction, but her
Why are you putting
sentences,
yourself through
well,
it?
I think it's a really good story, it's gonna be a really good story, but I read it night
It's worth
before I
a
go
movie,
to
it's
bed.
exciting.
And it's just, it's for my book club, but it's like, her sentences are so involved and you really have to take your time. And anyway, it's just, it's a lot. It's a great story so far, but I just am having a hard time because I read it night before I go to bed, so. I have to.
I admire you for sticking with it, because I would have probably put it down and I'm like, next.
Yeah, I've tried to read another one of her books and had the same issue, so I thought, no, I'm gonna do it. Okay, okay, so February book, great,
Yeah.
Okay.
At Coffee Talk.
at Coffee Talk,
I like that.
perfect,
Awesome.
okay. Save the date, these 2 dates are actually, it's not part 1 and part 2, they're both part 1.
I
So if you
believe.
miss,
Pretty
what'd
sure.
you say?
I'm pretty sure.
We think. I don't know anything about this, but it's what's your why is, I think, kind of what the story is behind that. So anyway, they're offering that. So that's great.
You don't have to sign up. You just go to empirebuilderspro.live and then you're on. So it's with Casey and Casey's doing it. Nope, it's free. So you can just hop on there tomorrow or next week. Yep.
Those are Bear Claws. That's delicious.
Got like apple in it.
Mm,
One of them has.
Yeah.
so good.
That's Bear Claws. There's some kind of muffin, there's this sugar bun,
Because
and I think there's one other thing.
Delicious.
Okay, so,
So tomorrow, so it's, I'm sorry, can you back up?
Yep.
What's the website again?
Oh, it's on your agenda. Did you get an agenda?
Builders Pro.
Yep.
okay, so next we have, thank you for having these at Bidwell Park. I mean, I really do appreciate you guys supporting our new business.
How's that going? Just generally like.
It's great. I mean, it's really just. I mean, it might drive you crazy, but I don't know why I'm just saying it might drive you crazy, but we just do like, it's like counseling. And so sometimes we just talk about family stuff. Sometimes we talk about
I know the
business.
coffee talk, I mean.
I'm sorry, I was like, so I was like, I think coffee talk is going great.
I've been to some of the coffee talks. I like it.
Yeah, no, it's going great. It's, I mean, it's a totally different world than what Teo was in, so, but like, he pulls 11-hour days and he's not tired. Where he would pull a 5-hour day in a software day and
So
be
they
thrashed.
the right thing.
Yes, yes,
Good.
yes, so,
Awesome.
How involved are you with that business?
I'm easy breezy. I go in and get free food and drink.
Yeah.
My whole thing, I've told you guys, I was gonna learn and I was like, nope, I have a job. I do not need to learn this job. I do feel like I get in the way sometimes and I do feel bad asking the team, like, can you make me a sandwich? But I'm just in their way. And so it's easier for me to just, so then I just tip them. And even though we're paying them, I still tip them. But sometimes if they don't have anything to do, they'll be like, Nikki, do you want me to make you a drink? And so,
Like,
so it's
huh?
pretty sweet. So we're
I saw the orange chocolate menu and I was like, I'm going in.
the orange drop cappuccinos.
Cause I've been wanting to do an orange chocolate cupcake, but a long time it's been like on my,
And so,
That's not part of the other, some things, so.
no, not yet, but, I mean, she has to talk to Teo about it, I'm not, but. You should talk to Teo because this orange syrup, I don't know if you deal with orange syrup, but he buys it different from the rest of the syrups.
yeah,
So,
no, I can tell it's different in the coffee,
Yeah.
it's not just a like artificial flavor, it's really good.
yeah. So anyway, it's going great. Thank you for asking. First and third Fridays, okay, so the free coaching call, now what I'm understanding is that it's top producers, since Rick is not here anymore, they are sharing the load of running those. And then Tuesdays at 2:00, mastering sales with Brent Gove.
That's just an ongoing.
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody's hopped on those, but
I put it on my calendar. Do it emergency.
Yeah.
On your calendar, so like, not- I never go with it.
anybody going to, I don't know anything about these, so does anybody have any interest, anyway, just know?
I would love to go sometime, but not this year.
Okay.
I mean, it's a great thing. I think if everybody has, can go, I think they're great.
What's the one, yeah,
In Miami, there's one in
when is it?
Yeah.
October, it's EXPCon. I bought my early bird ticket, it was like $7.50. But it's
where's it at?
Miami, Florida.
Nice.
It's like their big conference, their
Yeah.
EXPCon.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'll tell you the name.
This is the Maui and the Cabo thing are like Brent Gove
Yeah.
things. This is
So the
Oh.
one in
like Brent Gove's
Brent Gove hosts it.
hosts it, so the one in Miami is
Oh, so you
EXPCon,
don't
it's
get
like their
points.
big.
I think EXPCon is for like the
Yeah.
icon agent,
Yeah, you
like
got it.
you go, you can.
Yeah, for EXP on the shareholder meeting, the regional rallies, is that all?
You also get information that they're working on, like insider info, which is really good.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to go, I was thinking of getting like an Airbnb or a hotel like on the beach, cause it's at a convention center, it's not at a hotel. So if anyone wants to go, we could like split. Mhm. Maybe if you want. Yeah,
It's like,
October 10th, I think.
October, like the busiest month of
Okay.
the year.
You can still work while
You're gonna have buyer's agent, so.
You have buyer's agent.
You'll be ready to go.
Okay, last once.
Okay, have some ones, who's got what?
I do,
Okay,
I have a house, I want, sorry.
okay.
I have a couple pieces of property, land, vacant land, probably nobody wants, but, I have a new buyer that's moving back to Chico, and she wants, preferably a 4-bedroom, preferably a pool, although she's sending me stuff that doesn't have either, but she's around the 500,000 or under price point, but she doesn't want downtown at all.
Have a new build for under 5
I know.
and add a pool.
Yeah, Heritage has room for a pool. Come on.
Or to sell it. You're in the selling court.
Heritage Joe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It has room for a pool in the
Yeah.
backyard.
Yeah, it does, and it's a great location.
It is, like, there's,
I does not believe that house is
Well,
still
we
on the
had
market,
issues.
honestly.
There was a.
Well, I know there were
And
issues,
there was
but
stinky.
and there are no issues there, right?
Yeah,
And how many bedrooms?
4.
with an office in the garage.
Yes.
Yeah, 2-car garage,
Oh,
beautiful
also,
neighborhood, great neighbor, love
Right,
this.
it's
She come up with
Oh.
everything.
It is, it's not actually, because I've been sending her like, okay, there's a pool, there's a 4-bedroom, and, but, what she's been sending me, all of them have something, they've been on the market for a while, they're, so.
We've been on the market for a while, but we had a leak,
Mhm,
yeah.
It's been fixed.
everything's been fixed, the
Okay.
smell, the hoarder.
All the things have been, all the things have been fixed. It worked out.
Okay.
I have a want, so we, Eric and I have, we have to find an investment property for our clients by February 11th. We have to identify it by February 11th.
And what are they?
They would like a, like duplex, triplex, something like that. Under $1 million, preferably. Yeah, so if you know something, we've seen everything that's on the market. We have a few agents that have something coming up that I'm following up with. But we need something, we need to identify it by February 11th. So.
How much is in the 1031, like how much cash?
180 something. And they have more to put in too. So,
Where are they looking?
Chico, only Chico.
Okay.
They're tired of having their stuff all over the place. We sold their property in Eagle Lake.
Oh,
And,
nice.
because they were tired of trying to manage, they just they wanna keep all of their properties here in Chico, they wanna simplify. So yeah, so Chico, it could be, a duplex would probably be ideal, or a triplex. If you know,
Cause it looks like it's.
then, we have, a buyer looking for a 4-bedroom. Under 700, under 725-ish, around 700-ish.
I got it.
I know, she doesn't want that house.
Which one?
Oh, which one? Okay,
No.
I'll wait till my turn.
okay.
Yeah.
So we have that, we've seen, there's a few still that we have to look at that are on the market that she just was sick, so she couldn't go. But, so if you have something coming up that is not on the market, let me know. And then I have a praise that's a buyer that I have been working with forever. I've shown her every house forever. She's in contract.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna do it. Okay, it's like,
Awesome.
it's gonna happen.
Good.
So I am so excited for her and,
And you.
and me. But like, she's the sweetest,
Oh.
sweetest person ever. So it's been a joy to work with her, but we've been in contract a couple times for a day and then she's freaked out and backed out. So, I'm so excited. Like we're closed next week.
Oh, so you made it past the day.
We
Good.
made it, we still haven't released contingencies, but she's going to, like, it's awesome. It's the house on Gallatin Gateway.
Yeah.
It's like, so I'm so excited for her,
Yay.
Good.
so excited. And all this happened like right on New Year's. Like the week before Christmas to the first week of January, we had a 7-day escrow on Vanguard. That was wild. Over Christmas Day, like that 3-day weekend, we had a 7-day escrow.
We did one of those.
It was crazy, like it was nuts, but it happened, we did it. So we had that, and then I had, got my Latin Road property in escrow. And got this gal who I've been working with for 3 years in escrow. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it's New Year's Day, and I'm like working all day long. But
That's such a good thing though.
I know, it's so fun. So yes, that's a praise.
Good.
Enjoy.
Mhm. EXPCon, I pulled it up here, is actually, October 27th through the 30th.
Okay.
And if you get your tickets now, it's, $774, and that's with the fee. So, okay, so we have 157 Oak Grove, it's a manufactured 2-2, just hit yesterday for 83,500
Where's that?
up in Kelly Ridge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's a really nice gated 55 and older community. They won't allow any open houses or anything, so. And then DeGarmo's actually coming, can you believe it? We finally, the mom finally said yes. So, we brought that on and it comes live on, Friday. So that one's gonna be at 7:18. It's a 4-3 with a pool. Yeah, and that's
What's the address?
101 DeGarmo.
101.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So,
You're here first.
So we have open house opportunity on Sunday and then Saturday half day. If you're interested, please email Haley.
On the Garmo.
Yes,
Yeah, I wanna hurry to go on Friday.
Maybe I'll come back early.
and then the Rock House, or we sold Zeno.
Yay.
Been forward to that here, so
Yay.
it's just like I got some gray hair over that one. So I had much experience with that. So now we're on to the Rock House. And I've come to terms that I really probably should sell it. See, I'm still not sure yet, so I'm gonna sell it, probably ready in like a month and a half, but
Do you know what your
Wait.
price point?
I think 5 1/4. Yeah.
Okay,
so-
I might have a buyer. That might.
I know, me too.
You're gonna buy it yourself, you're gonna sell it.
I have a client that wants to. Anyway, it's coming along nice. We just painted cream. I went with the white ceilings and alabaster
I
walls.
should do a pre-tour before it goes on.
Yeah,
That with.
well, I had to have some engineering done, so my architects got that at the city.
Wow.
And we're dealing with that, so it kind of put a kibosh on putting the cabinets in, so it's gonna be like a month and a half out, so, but yeah. It's gonna be super
How-
cute.
How much is Tiger Joe's?
Well, it's 485,
485.
but there's room.
Okay.
Yeah, we could do a nice little credit for you.
Please so.
Mhm.
It's been sitting on the list.
She'll be in town to look really quickly on like the 31st.
Perfect.
Yeah, vacant, so cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
So we have a buyer, he's a 1031 exchange, he's looking for like a newer home, so there's like low maintenance, up to 500,000.
New homes
He's
over by you guys.
spending- Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Then we have a guy, he's looking in Magalia, he's around the 250 price point. And then we have,
I have something coming up in Gallia,
Oh,
but
you do.
probably not for 6 to 8 weeks. but-
oh, okay, that's good, yeah.
I do wanna also mention, if you have buyers that are looking at those areas, that was the main thing at Zeno, we had to get the California Fair Plan
Yeah.
quote, and it took a month. So
Took
if
forever.
they need to
They're-
get it out of the gate, if you make the offer,
They-
even before they make an
They've
offer.
apparently got on top of that now, like, because we
Yeah.
had something during that time period, and now they've.
Experienced it, so.
Yeah, our offer was gonna be on in the beginning of December
Yeah.
and they waited an extra week after it's.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we had a rush.
So I called the insurance, what is it
Commissioner?
called, commissioner, accidentally, I'm like, and he answered, I'm like, hey.
I know, it's before our home.
Yeah, and, oh no, and he's like, you know, like, and I'm like, well, this is what's happening, what are you guys doing to fix it? So, he goes, well, we have this workaround, so he gave me an email address. So I emailed them, they issued the policy for him.
Can we have that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was just like.
Well, you're an elected representative, so you're paying us wages, so you can call them anytime you want.
You were probably like, oh crap. I shouldn't have answered.
I was like, hello. But anyway, just a food for thought there, anybody looking, I'm getting quotes before we run out.
Yeah.
So they can.
Good idea.
I've got someone looking for a fixer in like Willows, Corning, Olin, kind of,
I tried for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll reach out to my agent, has a board, he might have, but.
Okay, you're looking for a fixer, something that would work for him to fix up and then do long-term rental.
She said she has a bunch of listings coming, I have not gotten them yet, so I don't know anything about them, but she does most of hers on the I-5 corridor, so
Okay,
I'll see if she has anything.
I also have, sorry, I've had too much coffee, so I'm talking so much. An investor looking too, we're just trying to find the right thing. Something to flip, and it can be horrible, he'll gut it and flip it, so if anybody has something.
What about,
It could be.
one in Chico on, it starts with a B. What,
Burnout,
yes,
the new one on Burnout.
it's overpriced, but you can get a nice lot and build a couple houses.
Didn't they just release it like yesterday
It's
too?
way
Like,
too high. It's a trasher.
but it's
You
like,
can't even
yeah,
sell.
so it's a manufactured home, it needs to be.
Oh.
pretty much full,
I
but,
probably didn't look at it. 'cause
but
it's
you
a
can,
manufacturer.
it's zone where you can have duplexes.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's a build from scratch, I think mostly wants a flip, but. Yeah, anything, I'm looking at all of Duke County, so anywhere pretty much. Where you can
What's the
make a
price
profit.
range?
As long as we can turn a profit, I mean, he's looking under, I mean, he's like all in cash under, 250, 300 if it, would make a. Chico, so anything that would, yeah, he could flip and turn around and sell, he's got a team and.
We have a listing coming on in Chapman Town, it's East 23rd around 240. She's having the tenants move out, but that would be for it.
Okay, will you let me know when it?
Yeah, she's getting it cleaned up right now.
Okay.
if she's gonna do. Some stuff where it's not gonna be.
It's not a flip. then?
No,
It's-
it's not.
yeah, it's gonna, there's gonna be.
What needs to go on?
Okay. That's on the 23rd.
Yeah, 374 is.
Dory Franklin has one on B Street, 219, 2 houses on one lot. They're trying to get the tenants out right now.
That's in Canton Town?
Nope, that's not our one.
I was gonna say, that
That's
doesn't sound like.
right by Shooting
South
Zone.
Yeah.
I don't sell A, B, C, or D.
ABC.
I don't
No, no, the street.
This is Crack Creek, this is the one.
Yeah.
No, you know, I've gone to look at a few and drove by and kept driving. Called and said, sorry.
Yep.
I like you, I can't go in.
We have a buyer that missed out on Kathleen. It was like multiple offer situation. That one was like a 4-bedroom. It was
Great street.
A great property. That's a lot.
Isn't that out off of, Turner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have that buyer that's looking for something like that. And then we have Jill, so they liked and shot, like you said. So you guys-
There's a few things about that. But they're looking for something,
Ex-boys.
they like something with like a lot of character, like they would love like,
They,
they want like an older home character,
Oh,
like remodeled. Pool, all room for a pool, so like Golden Triangle downtown, something with like walkability.
7th Street.
Mhm.
I asked on the plans for the addition. So they can make it a 3-2.
So he's an engineer, so he would like love. That.
Yeah.
Love looking.
And that gets 600.
Thank you.
Happy New Year, everybody.
It's the house I'm flipping.
oh, it's one you're
Yeah.
having. Oh,
The one she's trying to.
trying to
If you
get far.
get it.
Yeah.
Go to Rock House.
Get Rock House.
Right down the street from my house.
Is it a 2-2?
2-1, with an office.
2-1.
Nice sized backyard, detached garage.
Oh,
Which could be
we might
near you.
like that. What is the?
897. You just put the brick walkways around the front, it looks so.
You're pleasant now.
I came with
Yeah,
a
with my
master
foot.
gardening class. So it's
That'd be
gonna
perfect. A lot, and gets a lot of sun.
Oh, perfect. Oh, perfect. Sounds great.
Then keep bothering her in a month and a half.
Well, where are you at with like the flip?
This one, we just painted yesterday. We're waiting for the engineering to get approved. So I have to put a beam in the kitchen where we took a wall out. And it's tiny.
Well, the house is kind of
The
adding on.
kitchen's tiny.
Okay.
Not adding anything. I would love to add a master ensuite and dining space by the kitchen. But it's like 200,000 just for the addition.
What kind of price are you looking at for the silver?
5.25. Cabinets are made, they're just waiting. Nikki has a person too though. So do I.
I don't think you're gonna have an issue finding.
I don't.
And that's not when you can go by any price per square foot.
Right.
Again, it's a smaller house. but
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be more than 300.
Did everyone go?
Would you, do you have any?
I have someone who is looking to make a wedding venue. So we kind of talked about, indoor, outdoor idea. I'm thinking, I had in my head, this is a college friend of mine. She's actually a nurse practitioner, but is kind of wanting change of life, and because she found out how expensive it is to rent the barn. She's like, I think there's a
The need.
business opportunity here. I'm thinking like somewhere in Richardson Springs where if you have an inside facility, I'm picturing like a grand thing where it's all windows. And you're looking at your window, Brittany, be a window, the canyon wall.
Is it her or you building it?
We were brainstorming. And then if it's outside, you're looking at the
tree.
same view. But the same canyon wall. So we're kind of thinking something like that. I mean, it's not me.
Then.
Inside, outside, it needs to have like kitchen facilities. This is kind of
Yeah.
like just brainstorming. Anyway, so if you come
Come on
across.
in Galt. Would that
Huh?
work for her in Galt?
No,
There's the winery in, by,
in Orville.
no, Orland.
It's pretty far outside the other
Yes,
side of
right
Waltham.
by the, what's
Which
the,
you
what's the
want
lake?
anyway.
Black
It's like
Lake,
Raging Bull,
Raging Bull Winery.
that's like super nice, like.
Oh, that's Millions.
Well,
That one?
yeah.
Anything that you're
Yeah.
talking, that's gonna fit the budget of the event.
It's an amazing property.
It's only $1 million?
I don't know how much it is. I can't remember.
But it's income, it's an income producing business as well. Like, it's
Yeah, it's
not-
Okay.
winery.
Okay, let me.
We go there wine tasting.
I
It's
feel like
so
that
fun.
one was like 3.6.
I'm not- I
Like took them out on the cart. and, like,
Every jewel.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
It's really.
Well,
It's a neat
Coyotes or something as well, having like coyotes. so they're fine.
Okay, you remember that?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's, I was like, I already have some like ideas lined up for you on caterers and,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
I thought it
well,
was
no.
Raging Bullets way out there, so, you know, when you.
Which is
Go
great.
out there for a
because
wedding
you
and
have
it's rain, there's nowhere, like, there's no
There's
room, there's nowhere to stay, other than they're a harvest host, so you
Yeah.
can bring your RV.
Yes,
Yeah. But.
So,
there's some
anyway.
potential. Yeah, there's potential.
it's just like if you, I don't know, you never know, throwing it out. Who?
Lee Jones.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, my.
yeah.
Oh,
Love to be, everyone loves to be.
So, okay, I think that's it.
Okay, we're off.